Hey everyone, welcome to Taiwan On Fishing. Today I'm going to be running you through one of my favorite techniques for fall smallmouth. This has worked for me specifically on the Great Lakes, but definitely apply it to your local lake or local pond. Now many of you may be familiar with this technique. It is a lipless crankbait. Traditional ones come with rattles or BBs. There's also a couple different variations like one knockers or even lures without any rattles. And that's just going to give off standard vibration of the bait if they're a little more pressured. Now, traditionally people fish this when they cast it out and retrieve it at a fairly fast pace, or they're yo-yoing it through the grass. Now, the way I like to fish this is almost like a blade bait, where you're working along bottom, or even if you think of a swim bait on bottom, where I'm really just dragging the bait and then giving it a hop every so often. Now, while the bait does have treble hooks, depending on the style you use, for the most part, I do find it pretty weedless, where it comes through cover fairly easily as long as you keep attention on the line. Now, as far as the rod and reel setup I use for this, it's very critical to success, I would say. Not specifically like the caliber of rod or reel, but specifically to the action of the rod. Now I'm using a 7'5" Megabass Levante. It is the EMTF model. It is a medium moderate action specifically for baits like Liplesses. I fish it very similar to a blade bait, but I will generally pick up a lipless crankbait prior to. I just find it has a little bit more calling power for the fish. I'm imitating some shad or shiners, that any bait that these bass are chasing schooled up. And I just find that when the fish are aggressive, I can get them to come from a long ways, cover more water, even though I'm fishing slow. It's not a bait that I'm casting and burning back, but I'm just kind of dragging it along the bottom and then giving it some hops. As far as the reel goes, I'm using a Daiwa to Tula SV T-wing system in an 8.1 to 1 gear ratio. A lot of times I have fish swim towards me, or especially when you are letting that bait fall is when you get bites. So catching up your slack is very important to me, and that's why I choose a faster reel. As far as line goes, I'm throwing 14-pound fluorocarbon, a little bit extra stretch, fishing clear water a lot of the time. If you fish straight braid, that's when you have zero forgiveness, and you can pull a lot of hooks. I've pulled even split rings. But yeah, that's my setup. Taiwan on, and good luck fishing.